So, was it an act of revenge for French military action in Mali? Up to 3 people have been killed, including 1 Briton, when Islamist militants stormed an Algerian gas facility owned by BP in the town of Aminas, near the border with Libya. A group of foreign workers, the Al-Qaeda-linked group responsible, claim as many as 41 have been taken hostage. Our international editor, Lindsay Hilsum, is in the Malian capital, Bamako, with the latest on the French action there. But first, to our foreign affairs correspondent, Jonathan Miller, who's at the Foreign Office. Jonathan.
John, there was a dawn raid deep in the desert. It was on a natural gas installation partly owned by BP and operated by them. It is 1,000 miles from the Algerian capital, Algiers, and a very long way from anywhere. Very early this morning, it seems that the site was attacked and occupied reportedly by a jihadi militant group which arrived in a fleet of 4-wheel drive vehicles with foreign number plates. The first thing they did was attack a bus, apparently leaving a residential compound for the airport, and that is where we believe the fatalities occurred. We now know that 1 Briton was killed, we think a Frenchman as well, and possibly 1 other. The attackers then went on to surprise and overpower Algerian guards, and the group claiming responsibility for this attack is linked, as you reported, to Al-Qaeda in the Islamic Maghreb, one of the groups controlling northern Mali. And this group calls themselves the Brigade Who Sign Their Names in Blood. They claimed to a Mauritanian paper today to be holding more than 40 foreign hostages, among them 2 Britons, 2 Frenchmen, an Irishman, and 7 Americans. And the group itself says that what they did was in direct response to and in revenge for Algeria opening its airspace to French fighters attacking targets in northern Mali.
Well, the lights are on in the Foreign Office behind you. What are they making of it?
The Foreign Office is very reticent to say anything. They say releasing names, confirming nationalities at this stage puts people in danger. They describe it as an ongoing incident. We know that there have been reported clashes continuing through the day today. They say that the situation is live, but they have confirmed that Britons have been involved in this. The Irish Foreign Ministry in Dublin is saying the same thing. They told me about this Irishman, 36-year-old from the north of Ireland, so he may be a Briton as well, called dual citizenship. And the Americans have said that they know that a number of American citizens are caught up in this hostage crisis too.
Jonathan Miller at the British Foreign Office in London. Let's go to Lindsay now in Bamako, the capital of Mali. Lindsay, you're a very long way south of this facility, even the BP facility, but something like this was really warned of, wasn't it?
Oh, I think that there's no doubt that there's a connection between what's going on here and this attack today. The jihadis who control northern Mali said that this was the kind of thing that they were going to do. We believe that the man behind this is someone called Mokhtar Belmokhtar. Now, he used to be a very senior leader in the Algerian Islamic fighting group during that country's civil war in the 1990s. He is an Algerian. When that civil war wound down, he came here to Mali, to northern Mali. And he's almost like a sort of mafia bandit. He's a man who kidnaps and has become extremely rich by getting ransoms from European governments. Now, he recently, just a few weeks ago, he got very angry with another of the Al-Qaeda in the Islamic Maghreb leaders here and split. He seems to have gone back into Algeria. The Algerian government says that that border is closed, but this is a massive desert. They can't control that whole border. And it seems that he and his men, known as those who sign their names in blood, as Jonathan said, also as the masked men, are the ones who are thought to be behind this. And I think that this just goes to show how international this conflict is becoming. We're now seeing today, very soon from the beginning of the French intervention, the ramifications of their mission.
As French forces ready themselves here in Bamako, there's a danger of more kidnappings and acts of terror. Today at the airport, French troops were preparing to go north to fight. Aerial bombardment has flushed out some of the jihadis, but others are in caves in the desert or under cover in the bush. More equipment and soldiers are arriving all the time. Today's kidnap in Algeria points up the risks of intervention. The jihadis in Mali already have 8 French hostages, and an attempt to rescue a French intelligence officer in Somalia on Friday night ended in disaster.
Elle aurait pu réussir. Elle devait réussir.
It could have been successful. It was meant to be successful, but at the same time, the consequences were serious, since the hostage was murdered and 2 soldiers killed. I take full responsibility for this operation, loud and clear, because it is also a message that we are sending out. France cannot accept that its citizens are being held hostage.
The Malian president went to the airport to greet French soldiers this afternoon. He understands only too well the risks for civilians, both Malian and foreign.
It's an obligation for the Malian people to recover the occupied territory, to go back to the north. But I think also that it's an obligation for all the people of the world, for all the countries that want to live in tranquility and peace, that this enemy receives a decisive blow on the ground.
He's a weak leader, indebted to a junior officer who staged a coup last March. This is his opportunity to assert himself as commander-in-chief. But his armed forces ran away from northern Mali last year and are in no state to return.
The situation on the ground with the intervention of the French armed forces and especially the Air Force has been a great help. Without them, the situation was going to be catastrophic. But now the situation allows us to keep a certain calm on the ground, and the Malian army is in the process of reorganizing with the help of the French for the reinvasion.
Using French military strength to retake Mali's northern towns is likely to prove easier than countering the weapons of terror, hostage-taking and guerrilla-style attacks.
The implications of this for Algeria are great. It's very dependent on its oil and gas income. There are dozens of Western companies and many Western workers working in the desert. They will all be very worried tonight, as I think will be other Europeans and Westerners across North and West Africa.
Lindsay Hilsum in Mali.
Thanks, John.